So, for example, this is where my lounge is, and my TV is right across here. My setup for my computer is to the right. And what I've noticed in that is, yes, I've been off my computer more, but also it hasn't been beneficial. Mainly in terms of I'm more watching TV than I am creating content or putting myself in a position that's going to help me. I don't know. In a lot of ways, it almost feels like it's not enough. What I'm doing, like it doesn't matter. But I'm trying to really just show what my space is like. And even that's a hard thing for me to comprehend. Because I don't need the TV. I didn't use the TV before this because I was like, well, I'm going to use the computer because it has this and this and this, and I can really develop my skills there. Whereas now, I want to develop my skills. I want to do this. I want to do that. And then I'm sat here on the lounge watching TV. Now, there are many things I could do to counteract this. Whether that be I turn the brightness all the way down on the TV, whether I unplug the TV, whether I completely just remove the TV from my living area. And I can make excuse after excuse after excuse, but ultimately, it's me going, well, if someone comes over, then I can, they can watch TV, or we can watch TV, and we can do this and this. But I don't like watching TV. It's not something I enjoy. It's not something that gives me more energy. It merely just relieves me or my mind temporarily. I think in a lot of ways, there's been moments where I've slipped up. I've stopped journaling. I've stopped reading. I've stopped using the things around me in a beneficial way. But that's kind of the funny thing about it is, regardless of that, I still go back to it. And I still do my best to end in that position, but then so often I'm pulled back in this situation where I can either move forward or go with what I used to know, go with what was comfortable. And that's kind of where my mind has been struggling, is understanding that my reality isn't correct in terms of what I believe. It's what I believe, right, at the end of the day, but that doesn't make it correct. Just because I think something doesn't mean I'm right about it. Look, I have things I'd like to better. I have thoughts I'd like to both amplify as well as diminish. Ultimately, however, those things don't matter. Those things have no bearing on what I do every day. And ultimately, as much as my mind can race, can pause, as much as I put in the effort, the work, nothing's going to change if I don't. If I don't knuckle down and go to myself, well, what can I do today that's going to change my life? Or what am I going to do today that is going to have an impact? I always hear, right, that you should lie to yourself in order to get ahead, in order to believe something so that in the future it is true to you. In some ways, I agree with that because you ultimately need to believe something that isn't true yet in order to get to a goal. You have to believe what isn't there, what isn't true yet. Still, though, I find it curious that rather than being almost realistic, we come to this point where we lie to ourselves so much in order to try and feel good, in order to chase the good feelings and trying to separate the good feelings from the bad ones. What I noticed is my mind will go from one frequency to the next. And ultimately, that kind of creates this never-ending loop of what it means to be me and what I'm doing to achieve my goals. Being able and competent enough to make the right decision, you have to ultimately be incorrect occasionally. You can't always be correct. That's life. And when we think about reality, oftentimes our expectations won't match what reality gives us, what it provides to us. But what you do with that reality will determine the way you think, the way you speak, the way you fully convey yourself. In order for me to sit here and just speak, it doesn't even bring me joy. It doesn't make me sad. It doesn't make me feel anything. Not anymore. I remember when I would sit down, even just with my phone camera, and I would go trying to record a video, talking to my camera, and thinking, this is horrible. This, like, everyone's gonna hate this. Like, everyone's gonna think of me like this and this and this. I've gotten to the stage now, past the point of posting, past the point of considering what other people are going to think, and I'm just doing, rather than putting myself in this mindset of shame or misery or hoping things will be different. I'm just trying to exist, and not in any kind of like, life is horrible, I just need to exist, but I accept life for what is put in front of me. And I understand, at least, from my reality, that nothing is promised. Nothing is going to 100% work out in the way I want. But that doesn't mean I can't work for it. It doesn't mean that if I don't work for it, I'm not going to get it. I mean, it does, at least in my mind. If I think about every single time I sat there and I thought, should I record a video today? And I went no. And I continued that cycle, I would not be the person I am today. I wouldn't be able to sit here and talk in this way. 5-10 minutes ago, I was trying to show my setup and what my life is like, and the way I'm trying to build my environment around what I believe is important. Reading, education, understanding of the world, understanding of previous generational mindsets, as well as understanding who I am and the people around me. But the main process of me learning and me trying to develop as a person, it's not hard. I used to think it was. I used to think that trying to develop in my mind, in my physicality, in mindset itself, I used to think it was hard. I used to think that my experiences were different from other people's. I used to think that, I'm so alone in this, and no one would understand. And in a way, yeah, you have your own experiences, and they can be hard, they can be devastating, they can make you, I say make you, your thoughts and your actions can get entangled with one another. But ultimately, the experiences you have, someone else has more than likely gone through it, or multiple of those things, and they have probably reacted 10 times better than you have. For example, when I first found out that my eye had a retinal detachment, and I had to go get laser eye surgery, that freaked me out. After the surgery, I could see purple, and it was very, very concerning for me. But I went, okay, like it's done, I don't have to worry about it. And then a couple of years later, kickboxing and trying to physically be active again and trying to learn to fight to protect myself and those around me, I was kicked in the head, and that ultimately caused the previous surgery for my eye to detach again. And then I went through this whole process of multiple surgeries, and Now I'm here. And in that time, in the hospital bed, with all the time I had to think, with all the pain I had, I still managed to be happy, regardless, and do my best to move forward and not let it bother me. But, the one thing that kind of kept me sane and kept me morally in my mind okay was working out and going to the gym, because it not only brought me structure, but it gave me a physical outlet every day. And even if I didn't go, it was burned into my mind that I had to go. And if I missed it, it deeply, deeply upset me. So I would do push-ups, I would do sit-ups, I would do some kind of physical action. And after those surgeries had just finished, there was weeks, maybe up to months at a time, where I couldn't, or I wasn't able to. And regardless of what I was or wasn't allowed to do, I still did push-ups, I still did things I know I shouldn't have done because my eye was healing. But it got me through. And I know that soon enough I'll have another surgery and I may end up back in that same situation, but I really don't think I will. I don't believe that I'll get into that mental state. I know the thoughts I will have beforehand. I understand that they're only temporary, but it doesn't mean that they won't affect me. It doesn't mean that they won't have an impact on what I think or feel. It merely means that the way I react and my actions afterwards are completely and utterly determined by myself. And as much as I want to say that life has been unfair, or that, I deserved a better life, ultimately, I'm alive. I'm here today. And in this very moment, it's a beautiful thing for me to just sit here and be able to speak, to hear, to see. Although my vision is limited, I can still see. I can still move around. I can still work out. I can still have goals that I can achieve now. Does that mean it'll be the case in a year? Does it mean I'm granted tomorrow? No. I could die tonight. I could die anytime. Anything could happen. And that, honestly, that brought me a lot of clarity. Rather than just trying to live my life and just enjoy it for what it is, I know I need a goal. Ultimately, I love routine. Ultimately, to stick to something and love what you have is a privilege. To sit here under a roof with walls, with furniture, and hoping or wishing for more, it says a lot about where I am and what I'm doing. There's people that don't even have that privilege. There's people that can't even sleep at night because of where they live. There's previous ancestors of ours that had to fend for their lives. There's still people fending for their lives. There's people in ditches trying to win wars. And guess what? I wish for more. Often, it's hard for me to grasp how good I really have it. And recently I've been back on social media and scrolling, and all I can think is, this is what you want? And it's not. I don't want that. But it's something I've gone back to. I started posting on my Instagram stories more to try and pull myself back in a position of posting and repetition, but that repetition has caused hours of my time from posting and then scrolling. It's an annoyance to understand what you're doing wrong, to be able to visibly see it, even in the moment when scrolling, seeing it going, you shouldn't be doing this. You could be doing this instead. Why are you still doing it? And then continuing. Ignoring that thought, it's like laying in a jail cell, but your door's always open and you never try and leave. It's like someone saying you're a prisoner, and then you have access to everything, but you never leave. It's like that's just kind of the thing I can't grasp, is I know what effects it has on me physically, on me mentally, and on my mindset. And I know how to divert away from it. It's not that I don't, but so often there's just cases where I just keep doing it and I don't change anything. For example, I can delete the app, and every time I want to post a story, install it. And if I don't want to post on my story, I can use an external website and I can post from my computer instead. Probably higher quality as well. But it's more the convenience of it. For example, as of recently, I bought a tiny burner phone just so I wouldn't be on my main phone. So I put my SIM card in there, all this, all that, setting it up. I used it for a couple of days, and then I realized that I couldn't hotspot my other phone for work. I couldn't connect to log in at work. I couldn't put into perspective, pretty much I couldn't sign in, and that meant I wouldn't get paid. So I just went, well, it's easier if I just keep it in my main phone then. So now the burner phone just sits there. It does nothing. It's just in a drawer. And what did I do? Did I go to my work and say, hey, look, is there Wi-Fi here? Is there any way I can work around this? Because then I would be off my main phone. And it would just be my work phone. And then my burner would just be my main. Ultimately, though, I suppose this has gone in a lot of directions, but I'm not sorry about that. And I have so much to say, and I want to say I have so little time. I know how much time that I'm ultimately granted in a day. Yeah, what do I do with it? What am I doing with my life? Am I truly trying to move forward? Am I truly putting in the time and effort to meet my goals? Ultimately, I can say, yeah, like obviously, but in reality, there's been so many times where my goal has been in front of me. And I've just kind of looked at it and gone, oh, I can do that later. When there's no urgency, when you don't put in the time or effort, you ultimately destroy your only chance. And if one of my videos goes viral, for example, it's not that I was lucky. Maybe it is, right? But ultimately, I've put in the time, the effort. I genuinely believe that that is the only way that I will improve. From putting in the time, from executing and understanding what I can do better, and truly dedicating myself and being able to convey what I believe. I can think about philosophy, I can think about what it means to be me, I can think about pain, suffering, beauty, love, whatever it is, I can think about anything. And this is just the point in my life where this is my mindset, this is my mentality, this is who I am. But yet again, that's all I could ask for. My experiences have shaped me. My mind has helped me develop. And furthermore, I continue every day. Regardless of if I move forward, regardless if I move backwards, moving forward is a luxury. Moving backwards is a luxury. I suppose that's all. I mean, there's so much to say, but there's no point in trying to explain this really broad internal thoughts that I'm not doing anything about. Because I know that if I speak about what I want, what my goals are, that I get a hit of dopamine from that. Rather than trying to achieve the goal, I think I've already achieved it because I've spoken about it to someone or to try and get it out. And that's where a lot of my goals have kind of shifted, because I feel like I've already achieved them because I've told someone. I know my motivations. I know how great I was with being disciplined and my routines and my times, and I like things a certain way. But hey, I'm still here today, and as I said, tomorrow isn't granted. Today, in this very second, is. The moment you have, what you see with your eyes, the reality you put in front of yourself is what is. Once that moment has passed, it's past. There's nothing you can then do about it. Moving forward, taking a step forward. Time slows down for no man. It merely marches forward.